That's not bad. Okay, someone give me an audio video check. I'd appreciate it. Hi, Cortex. Nice to see you again. Yeah, flower gold is not the easiest thing out there. Absolutely. All right, David. Thank you for the sound and video check. See if I can see from here whether I need these. Do a little better with my. Okay. So give a little bit of just what do you call it? Not anything really important for the first few minutes. Let people show up. There's supposed to be a geomagnetic storm tonight, and we should have some pretty good auroras. It might be a very intense storm. So we're not sure exactly what. I just been checking the latest prediction. That would be a little hard, Cortex. I usually just upload it to YouTube and then send someone a link. Right now, the predicted view line has retreated just a little bit. The extreme line was sitting right at the border of southern border of Idaho, and now it's come up, kind of like going through Boise. So we shall see. They have a 30-minute forecast page, and it's not looking terribly exciting. So we shall see what we shall see. Possibly, Brian. Yep. Was lining up to be more intense than the last big aurora we had. Not the last aurora, but the last big one, back there. Snow? You have snow over there, honey bunny? Well, that's unaccountable and undesirable. Ours is partly cloudy right now. I've seen it so bright that you can read a book, huh? That's pretty good. Oh no. That's Eva's. Hold on a second. I'm supposed to remind Eva to take a pill here. Hold on a minute. I got to go wake her up. Yeah. She's been having a bad afternoon. We did a little bit of maintenance work at the motel there. I hung some rain gutter. I needed someone to just hold it while I hooked it up and stuff, but apparently the cold wasn't that easy on her. So it's not really cold, but her ability to thermoregulate seems to have been compromised, at least temporarily. So she'll be okay. Okay, Brian. Brian sent me a present. Apparently, these are considered to be Christmas tree ornaments from Home Depot. And then Brian sent me a roll of zinc and I tried it out. Didn't seem to work well on the solution that I was working with initially. Brian, I'll also try it on stripping solution when I get the chance, but I'll see about putting it in some more concentrated solution. The material that I was using it in, come on. Basically, it's running like 35 parts per million. And that didn't give me clear. It was precipitating things, but I think it precipitates the silver real well also. And as such, it makes it kind of harder to see what's going on. I mean, silver's, doing really good, but it's still, an order of magnitude cheaper. Plus, I think it's like 40 times cheaper than gold. So you'd have to have a lot more to make it economically interesting. But I got my solution samples back, and it looks like I got like 95% dissolution. And so the last batch of dissolution tests seemed to work pretty well. And therefore, right now, what I'm testing is what is the right amount of hydrogen peroxide to use for pre-treatment. And I am not sure. So what I'm going to do is, obviously this stuff isn't what we're going to regrind in the little mini Molino down in Nicaragua. So it's going to behave a little bit differently, but there are questions as to how much hydrogen peroxide do I need to get really good dissolution. And we could easily spend a lot of money on hydrogen peroxide that may or may not be necessary. Okay, I did some tests and it seems to just keep chewing up hydrogen peroxide forever. I think what happens is it gets to a certain point, then it starts catalyzing the dissociation of the hydrogen peroxide. It's not doing any good, not chewing up any sulfides. It's just essentially hitting metal and turning into gas and water. So that makes it really hard to see when you've basically done whatever good you're going to do with it. The fact that I could get 95% recovery indicates I can do pretty good with it. How much it takes, different question. So I made 4 different bottles with 100 grams of solids in them. And then one had 50 cc's of hydrogen peroxide, 250 cc's of water. One had 100, 200, one had 200, 100, and then one had 300 cc's of pure hydrogen peroxide. Well, it's not pure, it's 12%, but undiluted. And then once they'd all had lots of time to react, I added some lime, which will kill the rest of the hydrogen peroxide, and then added the Eco Gold X. So it's one of those deals where I will now, everything else was done the same except for the hydrogen peroxide, and to a certain extent, the Eco Gold X, because the consumption varied between the bottles too. In the past, we've seen a correlation between consumption and gold recovered, and we'll see if that holds here or not. But we're trying to find out what's the optimum amount of hydrogen peroxide to get good recovery. I also was testing the transfer from the solution into the resin, and crunching the numbers, that came out to about 75% recovery, but I have very low confidence in that because I'm dealing with such small quantities that a little bit of error will make a huge difference. I think like 1 milligram is 5%. So, is copper a byproduct of another metal? To a great extent, the answer is yes, but it's normally stated the other way around. There is gold and silver, and sometimes molybdenum, are usually considered to be byproducts of copper production. Many of the large metallic ore bodies out in the world that they call polymetallic because it's got more than one valuable mineral in it. For example, the Cypress Sierrita project down by Tucson, the major product was copper. The minor product was molybdenum disulfide, and then it had substantial amounts of gold and silver. Okay. So they're commonly associated with each other. So that is a common association. When they say a gold mine, what they're generally saying is the primary economic product is gold. Okay. It's the one that makes the most money. For example, in Nicaragua, we have 3 to 5 times as much silver as gold by weight. On the other hand, when it comes to value, the silver doesn't even amount to 10% of the gold value. So this would be considered a gold mine. Now, another reason you can change that terminology is like in World War II, when they said, we got to shut down the gold mines because we need things that can be used in war, and you don't use gold for that. I know of at least one mine where, since they were making gold with byproduct tungsten. Well, you need tungsten in war because tungsten carbide is the tip of an armor-piercing projectile. So then it suddenly became a tungsten mine with byproduct gold. These things can happen. Rare metals, you can sometimes get platinum group and stuff in there, but generally, let's say what I've heard is copper, polymetallic mines with significant silver and gold, or let's say there's many deposits which are primarily gold. Okay. So that's basic. It's a matter of terminology. It's just like reserves. Well, we've got this many reserves. Okay, what kind are they? Are those proven reserves, probable reserves, geologic reserves, inferred reserves? They mean different things. Cam up a touch, please. Camera up a touch. You mean like that? Get it closer? So anyhow, let's say down there, we have substantial byproduct silver, which again may be the reason that this right here, it may just be plating so much silver I can't see the gold. Whereas with the copper either makes it look like gold or it's more selective for gold. I don't know. In our case, in the Nicaragua mine, the gold is not, the ore is not weathered that much. We have a lot of actual sulfides still left in it. Yes, that is correct, Jeff. If proven reserves are taxable, probable reserves are not. So a lot of times they will not prove the reserves up until they have to. Yeah, when I'm actually going to be putting on the whiteboard, I will go ahead and adjust the camera as needed. Right now, I'm just using the basic YouTube method because Eva's snoozing peacefully and I don't want to disturb her. Just a second, I'll get some samples of something so I can show y'all. Now, this is a method I've used before, but I'm finding it's very handy and useful. This is just black cardstock. Okay. I get these curves on it so that I can stick it into the pan and stick stuff on that I've recovered with the pan. Let's see if we can even see anything. If you can see there, there's 3 samples in it. That the sample is as is 2, which is the sulfide below gold line cons on the first retable. And these are pretty pure sulfide concentrates. Let's see if I can get that one. There is the original material as I received it. This one up here, right there, is after the hydrogen peroxide leach. And this sample here is after the Eco Goldex leach. So you can actually retain and preserve the little piece of the actual material so you can look at it under the microscope and, you know, compare stuff later. But that stuff in the center, that's the first material, that's like 95+% sulfides. This is tailings. You can see it's a lot lighter in color. It's mostly silica. And there's very little visible sulfides or other heavies in here. Visually, it looks pretty good. Unfortunately, it still runs like 2 grams per ton. So that's what's going on here. Now, the amount of material in the tailings is too high. Okay. 2 grams per ton is pretty bad to throw away, especially when you're processing 10 tons in a shift. So currently you'd be throwing away what, like $3,000? Let's see. 20 divided by 31 times, what is it right now? 4,500? That's crazy. Yeah, so that'd be $2,900 you're throwing away per day. So we're going to be installing a set of VDR sluice mats in there to see how much of that we can recover. The it would be desirable. I mean, if we could even recover half of that, and I would not consider that to be unlikely. Now, VDR mat's pretty good stuff. If we can recover half of those losses, that's over $1,000 a day. That ain't bad. Hi, Red Wing. By the way, just want to let you know that I really appreciate that video you set with your new ball mill, and where you cleaned it out and saw how much was stuck in there versus what came out the end. That was a really great demonstration of just how much of a trap a ball mill can be. So that worked out well. I was able to send that to the gentleman from Nicaragua and show them, this is why I kind of think it's a good idea if we should maybe. I have a question. What can be the black minerals left after collecting the magnetite? Silver oxides, titanium, you cannot identify. Okay, it can be a lot of things. Okay, there are magnetic iron oxides and non-magnetic iron oxides. You can have things like molybdenum. You could probably have zinc oxide, tin oxide. There's just a lot of things it can be. And it's not really definitive. If you have the knowledge and a microscope, a good mineralogist can look at the crystal faces and how it breaks and things like that and get a good idea. But another thing you can use is something called a borax bead test, where, and this is low tech. I don't have the information on me. I need to look that up sometime and get it all. But basically, you take a piece of high temperature wire, like nickel chromium wire is the standard thing, and you heat it up in a flame, put it in some borax, keep doing that until you got a bead on the end of your nichrome wire. And then you take that bead when it's hot, and you just touch it into a sample, like I showed you on these things, just a little bit, and then heat it up again. Now, the borax will dissolve minerals. And when it does, it will change colors. And so the borax bead test can sometimes be very useful in telling you some of the other minerals in there, like copper, iron, stuff like that. But in terms of non-magnetic black sands, I know there's a lot of possibilities. Does anyone want to hop in here and see what the fire assay will show you? The gold content. It will not tell you the other stuff in there. Now, if it was a silver mineral, you're going to see a lot of silver in it. But aside from that, all the other minerals are designed to be eliminated during the fire assay. If you had, let's say, tin oxide, and you did a fire assay, you wouldn't see it. It would just disappear on you, because that's what fire assay is supposed to do. Get rid of everything but the precious metals. If you're really curious, first of all, if you have a university nearby you can go to the geology department with a sample and just ask them. Sometimes these people are very friendly and happy to help out. Other times they're not, but you can't tell. There are several silver minerals that are black. Absolutely. But, there's a lot of black minerals that aren't silver. So there's a lot of possibilities, and it's not just one or two different things. It's a lot of things it could be. So you'd have to find out. I say one thing you could do is try a university nearby if you have one. You can definitely take it to a laboratory, and they can tell you exactly what it is in terms of the elements by doing an elemental analysis. Typically for that, you're going to spend about $100, where they will dissolve the whole thing in aqua regia and then run it through a machine that'll use spectrographic analysis to figure out what's in it. And so I say it could be a lot of different things. It's probably not titanium, because the titanium oxides are white. It could be silver minerals, could be a lot of things. I'm not sure what the density of tourmaline is. Let's see here. I think it was Gruber Ned Jardine that found some black tourmaline. Okay, tourmaline runs a specific gravity of 2, and there is black tourmaline out there. And so it's going to be a little bit heavier. I haven't seen any black gold in the field. I know you can get coatings and stuff on things. I personally haven't seen it. Okay. Yeah. So there's a lot of positive. If it had oil on it, it'd have to be pretty large particles. Otherwise, it would float on top of the water. You know, big particles are going to sink to the bottom, even if they're oil coated. But yeah, I say there's a lot of possibilities. So you'd either need to pay for that kind of test, or manganese can be back too. Yep. Manganese, molybdenum. So as I say, there's a lot of possibilities. It gets a little tricky to figure it out. Okay. But if you did a fire assay on the material, it would show any gold or silver in the black sands. Okay. So, as I say, can't really do a lot of help for you there, but there's some ideas as to what you might do to try and figure it out. As a general rule, your heavies are going to have all kinds of things in it: metallic minerals, gemstones. I mean, even around here in Montana, there's places that you can actually find diamonds in your concentrates. A lot of places around here have sapphires. Okay. You can get sapphire, you can pan sapphires in Montana. It happens. So that's what it is. Let me look at the thing. Let's just double check the Aurora view line for the heck of it. Not seeing anything exciting yet. What's the price of silver? A little over 93. Not moving right now because everything's closed. Because we have a what do you call it? Holiday here in the United States. Anyone looking at the international price of silver right now? See what it's doing? Let's see, EVA, hydrogen peroxide test. And what is... Ooh, I'm not sure if that's actually a mineral per se. I think there's some in the fabric. Kind of interesting. And I have no idea how true it might be. $95? Cool. Is that the question of, is there a correlation between the Earth's magnetic field, geomagnetic storms, earthquakes, and planetary alignments and stuff? I don't know. Some people are convinced there is. Haven't studied it much myself. But right now we have a strong geomagnetic storm and a really good planetary alignment right now. So some people are predicting a high probability of major earthquakes. Have no clue. Yeah, there's one guy, Stefan Burns, and I just kind of look at him without necessarily paying a lot of attention. I just like to see what he's saying, and he says right now there's something in the Earth's magnetic field called a Schumann resonance. I have no idea what the heck a Schumann resonance is, but he's saying that since I think 2020, he's never seen what he's seeing right now. So I have no clue. But that, might be. I don't know. There's always a lot of stuff going on. My mom used to be a professional geologist. She got a magazine called Geotimes, which was like the magazine of the Geological Society of the United States. I forget what, I don't know what it was. But it was interesting to see how much stuff they had in terms of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions that I'd never heard of in the normal news. They always had at least, 3 or 4 major earthquakes and a dozen volcanoes going off each month, So I have no clue, but I just thought I'd bring it up as an interesting topic. I don't know if anyone else has paid much attention to it. And the gentleman down there, they're not in Nicaragua right now. They're taking care of some stuff up here. They'll probably go down there like the first week of February and start doing some stuff. They've got some really good ore stockpiled, and they've also got some what do you call it? They're opening up some old tunnels that used to have good ore in them. So that might get interesting. So in terms of pole shifting, there's a whole lot difference between a magnetic pole and a rotational pole. And I think that the law of conservation of momentum pretty much rules out much in the way of sudden shifts in the rotational pole. Now, the magnetic pole, it can change. It does change. We know it changes. We know it flips. How fast these things are, how likely they are, and what actually happens during that time is an interesting question. I don't believe the last magnetic pole shift was within historic times. As I recall, it was like 10,000 years ago or something. Yeah, I say I wouldn't worry too much about a geographic pole flip, as has been shown in movie stuff. Magnetic pole flip, certainly. As I understand, they believe it's a pretty slow process where the magnetic field gets weaker and weaker and weaker, goes to almost zero, and then starts coming back up. And 50% of the time, it comes back reversed. I don't know. Will it cause problems? Yeah, more radiation will get to the surface of the Earth. Will it kill us all off? Well, life didn't get killed off before, so my guess is no. Okay. So that's my inexpert opinion on the matter. Another thing. My brother gave me a Mine Lab 5000, a GPS 5000, I think it's called, years ago to use, and it's a more of a specialized machine for extremely high mineralized ground. Okay, as such, it's not nearly as easy to use as, say, a Gold Bug 2 or a Gold Monster. So if there is a heavily mineralized ground you have to deal with, this is kind of the machine to use. On the other hand, if you don't, it's like a deer hunter using a 338 Lapua with 24 power scope to go deer hunting. It's way more than you need, and it's a lot to buy and carry. So if anyone knows someone who would trade me a Gold Bug 2 or a Gold Monster for a Mine Lab 5000, I would be happy to do so. There's a gentleman here that we met the other day at the coin shop, and he's a metal detector guy. He used to be a sonar tech in the Navy, and so he likes metal detectors. You know, it's his mindset sort of thing. And he was interested in it, so I let him take it home the other day. It had been sitting in the beluga, and the pack rats had been near it, but they hadn't damaged it. And so he took it home, cleaned it all up, charged it up, checked it all out. It's all working fine as far as he can tell. So again, if anyone wants a Mine Lab 5000 at a reasonable price, originally it was $5,000. I think right now a Gold Bug 2 or a Gold Monster is about $1,000. Let's see. Gold Bug 2. There's one in an open box. Looks like about $700-800 for a Gold Bug 2. Let's see what a Gold Monster is running. Yes, I know what it is. Let's see how much. There's about $900 for a Gold Monster. So anyhow, if somebody wants one, or if somebody needs one, the Mine Lab 5000 is specifically designed for really heavily mineralized soils. It was designed by the guys in Australia, where they got to deal with that. So as I say, I'm willing to pretty much trade it, maybe a couple rounds of silver too, something like that. But as I say, if anyone knows anybody or if anyone's interested, let me know. We'll talk about it. I want a detector that's a little easier to use, a little more doofus friendly. Hey. Mind repellent? Mouse repellent. Okay. No, I have not, Jeff. Hi, Chris. Also, one of the gentlemen from Venezuela had his dog attacked last night. Probably coyotes. Does anyone know a good repellent for predators, specifically coyotes or wolves? If so, let me know, because they're in low density housing uh, over past Coeur d'Alene, and it would be nice if they had something they could. No, the other houses are too close for that, Shane. Besides, you actually have to see them. I understand, and it does work. Okay, honey bunny. Thank you. So, anyhow, it's that was just a question to throw out. That was just a question to throw out there. Name I don't recognize. Not sure. Hey, not sure. Yeah, it was mouse repellent. Probably dictation or something. Yeah, I understand, Chris. Uh, uh, I think you're going to fit in great. Not sure. Leaving a radio play. Okay. That's a possibility. Or even just, sounding like people or something like that. I'm not sure. I know that human urine can repel a lot of things. Same. So, anyhow, I presume most of you saw the video with Eva finishing up her treatments. There's apparently a tradition or whatever of ringing a gong or a bell or something when you're done with those things. And so, motion sensor lights, that's an interesting one. And so she did. And I thought you guys would not only find it interesting, but also you can see that her functionality is reasonably good. She is not a happy camper right now. It's uncomfortable. It's because the radiation has to go through to get to what it is. All of this area has been essentially radiation burned, and she's extremely self-conscious right at the moment until the skin heals up and stuff, and I think reasonably so. But it's a difficult thing to go through. I think she did real well. I'm really proud of her. I don't think I would have handled some of the stuff. Not necessarily the pain. There's just a lot of issues that happen when you irradiate the neck and the mouth and all this other stuff that are just really unpleasant. And she's been a heck of a trooper, and I'm really proud of her. And you notice when you put her in front of an audience, what happens? Yep. So, you might want to do a freeze frame and look on her left cheek there. It's really not that good looking if you look up close. She people, for obvious and perfectly understandable reasons, tend to stare at her when we're in public right now. Okay. And that's a perfectly reasonable, because you can tell there's something wrong. And human nature is, when something like that, because it may be contagious or whatever, it's genetic adaptation. It's evolution. Evolution tells you to stay away from people who look like something's wrong with them, you know. And but it distresses her a little bit, and I can certainly understand that. But say she's been really really tough. So I'm really proud of her. It isn't that cold here right now, Shane. I think it's 25, something like that. It's going to get down fairly cool tonight. Huh. How about that? I can just scan over it. Huh. I'm presuming that's the current thing. Nothing really exciting on the Aurora front at the moment on the 30-minute forecast. So we shall see what we shall see. But yeah, I'm really proud of her. Right now, I'm kind of dressed lightly because she's got the heat turned up, because her body is, her body's thermoregulation is not where it used to be. And we were out in the cold for a little bit, and she still has not warmed up, even though, I don't know, what's the temperature in here? Right now it's 81 degrees at the desk here, and Eva's got a heater blowing on her over there, and she's underneath a thick comforter. And it's just, her body, I don't think is that active right now. It just can't generate the kind of energy. So anyhow, but she's doing okay, and I thought it would reassure people to see her. Well, that does sound kind of cold, Shane. So that's what's going on there. I'm going to start an experiment on my next resin and pulp bottle roll. I got a timer that will allow it to run for 30 minutes, stop for 30 minutes, run for 30 minutes, stop for 30 minutes. And we'll see how that works in terms of attrition on the resin and stuff like that, whether it does much. Thank you, Mr. Virtue. Thank you, Honey Bunny. So that's it. That'll be my next experiment. And we'll see what the laboratory. I went to drop off samples at the lab today, and it's Martin Luther King Day. So what can you do? Yeah. Yeah. It says I got 3/4 of it, but I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of it was just attrition losses. It was kind of funny, the samples that they brought me, the mill heads and the tails assayed the same. I'm sure they were from different times. Well, that's what happens when you live up in Alaska, Chris, some women are poker face. Some women are more vicious and more untrustworthy. Ladies are better, you know. I don't think modern society has done womankind any great services, you know. They have screwed things up a lot in many ways. Yeah. Yeah, I guess he went back to Alaska there this year. Oh. Just saying, let me get an energy drink here. I'll be right back. Yeah, he was sleeping soundly over there. I want a woman. You know, I like being with a woman. I like a woman that's got honor and integrity and toughness and brains. You know? Yeah, I know Greenland does have gold. I'm not too sure about this rare earth. All of a sudden, well, they got rare earths here and rare earths. They got rare earths all over the place. It's all the extraction. They're not that terribly rare. Not yet, but it definitely deposited something, Brian. It just didn't say pristine. It reacted. So I'm going to try it when I got some stronger solutions and such and see what happens. I like that, Mr. Virtue. No, as anyone can tell, yeah, pretty much they were dark gray. That's why I think it might be silver. As anyone can see, there's a lot of activity going on worldwide and inside our country here. This is one of those times where things change a lot. That should be good for the price of gold and silver. There's another thing going on here that's not hitting the news. The government is clearly making a concerted effort to become as independent as possible in minerals and energy. There's one announced smelter refinery a couple of weeks ago. There's others they're working on that I'm aware of. So it appears pretty clear that the administration wants to fast track rare earths production, any minerals that we need that we don't have enough of ourselves, that's going to get priority and stuff. So just be aware of that. It's not something that's really noticeable, but they're providing funding, they're cutting red tape and stuff like that. No, I don't. Not sure, but that's a big show. I've never been to that one. Um, I've been to the Tucson one, but Quartzsite, it has gotten crazy compared to the last time. I mean, when I was a kid, I was like 100 people. There's a place called Stone Cabin. That was about it. So it has changed a lot. Now it's 100,000 people in the wintertime. Just a bunch of snowbirds. Yeah. Sounds interesting, Chris. Um, crystals. She likes crystals. Okay. She likes fluorite, but basically any kind of crystal. Um, I was thinking of something there. Oh, um, at one of the mines I've been in the past, over the last decade or so, that we didn't find a whole lot there. The owner has continued to work on some stuff since then and has since found a parallel vein where the assay is running 25 to 30 ounces per ton. And he sent me a picture. I don't want to open that many tabs up, but he sent me a picture of a pan that had 3 grams of gold in it. you know, uh, so that's interesting. And there may be something there that I'll help out in some way or another. Don't know. Um, Lauren's got a lot of work lined up that I may help some out, make a little money hither and thither. But, you know, Eva is a typical Eva is like, yeah, don't let me slow you down. It's like, yeah, I'm going to leave you right now. Boo. No way. Uh, yeah, exactly, honey bunny. Just crush it, put it in a pan it down, 3 grams of gold. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's no fun, not sure. Besides, it's quartzsite. You pretty much have to have your own RV or something to live in, and there won't be any spaces to park it. I wouldn't think. Haven't heard anything from Lars. You know, but anyhow, I'll probably be starting to get out of the house in another week or two. Eva's been doing pretty well, but as I took her out, she was mainly sitting in the car. She was probably standing in the cold for 10 or 15 minutes total while she helped me and just hold up some stuff and everything. And that has kicked her butt. So even though the engine's running okay, there's not much volume in the gas tank. It doesn't go too long. Wow. But really interesting, Poker Face. So, anyhow, that's the situation let's say, I'm sure if nothing else, I got plenty of lab work to do here. I need to start doing some testing on other solutions. Probably go with thiosulfate next. Somebody, I forget exactly who, sent me a couple of papers, in an email. One was thiosulfate, one was on thiourea. I appreciate that kind of stuff. Yeah, it would be, honey bunny. What I want to do is get a good operating mind. Then you can all come over. We can have a big giant barbecue and spend several days mining and stuff. Absolutely, it'd be a blast. And so I say that's kind of what's going on. I've been spending a lot of time watching the news because it's been pretty dynamic. We are currently using the EcoGold X O series, correct, Brian? We found that it seemed to work as good or better than the S series on these sulfides. So that is what we are using. Let me check. Eva just made some noise. Let me check on her. She's fine. Yeah, it's a pretty dynamic time, and it's interesting. If you don't mind me diverging a little bit right now, the lady that got shot in Minnesota the other day, it's been really interesting to see how it's being reported, perceived, and stuff like that. It's at times like this I really appreciate having a daughter who looks at the world differently than I do, but we can talk, about these things without arguing anymore and such. And it's interesting to see how she perceives something like this and why. And that allows me to get a better understanding of the other viewpoint. Now, it didn't really change my view of the whole thing, but then I always tend to be kind of cautious in forming opinions anyhow. But it's amazing how quickly people formed opinions, because initially we only had one video and it wasn't too clear exactly what happened in many ways. And then other stuff comes out which clarified some questions I had. And then another thing is many people don't understand what the law actually is. And what appears to be one thing to the uneducated in the law is something else entirely if you are in fact educated. Yesterday we had a situation happen where Don Lemon went in with a group that were going to protest at a church. He made a video before he went saying they're going to be doing something. I'm going to go with them, and but I'm not going to tell, I'm not going to say what, because I don't want anyone. And he's finding out today that his probably should have run that past his legal department first. And hey, John, how's it going? From that crazy state of Minnesota. No kidding. You keep it safe out there. It's getting ridiculous. You're ground zero here. Hey, Sherry, how's it going? I presume you saw the picture of Eva. I mean, the video with Eva in it. And I hope that reassured you a bit. She's doing okay. But anyhow, he didn't seem to realize that there are certain actions which might be considered by some people a reasonable method of protesting, but sometimes are considered by the law to be felonies. And Harmeet Dillon, the civil rights AG, says, oh, yeah, we're gathering all the data now, but you can expect indictments, including Don Lemon. It's like, I say, these people are just so misinformed as to what the law is and what what the details are and what is peaceful protest. Laying hands on someone is not peaceful protest. Driving a car at someone, one of the officials said that in the last year they've had over 100 car ramming incidents at these ICE things. Well, driving into someone's car is not peaceful protest. And I feel fairly confident that the organizers are not really informing the protesters that thoroughly on exactly what the law is and how you have to be very careful if you're going to call it aggressively protest, not to step over that line, especially in this case where you're even, let's just say you're driving your car and honking your horn to try and alert potential arrestees of the presence of ICE. Well, that is clearly intended to interfere with the ability of a federal agent to perform their duties. Therefore, it's technically a felony. Now, in my opinion, that probably shouldn't be that big a deal if that was all it is. But that, again, it's still, you're interfering with agents trying to do their, sooner or later, people are going to get killed. Okay. I lived through the 60s. I was conscious of stuff during the 60s. And I know what happens when you get a lot of people wound up yelling at each other. Sooner or later, people get hurt and killed. And I say, I feel kind of sorry. The woman that was her partner or whatever was she yelled out afterwards. Not most of the tapes, but I've heard the tape. If you go long enough and continuously enough, you will. You take care of Polka. She said, why were you using real bullets? It's like, that's a very odd thing to say. Did she really think that they didn't have real bullets in the guns? And if so, why? Why would one think that? Was she told that they didn't? I don't know. Yeah, see what I'm saying here? Somebody's saying, well, she was told to leave. No, she wasn't. She was told to get out of the car. Even then, you're not allowed to actually strike an officer. Did she intend to strike the officer? We'll never know. Did she strike the officer? Yes. It's clear from certain angles, yes. But that's why some people, because initially it wasn't clear, and like my daughter was convinced he hadn't even been hit. Okay. And then, and you can, all right, me, I wouldn't have drawn my gun. First of all, I can't do it very fast. Secondly of all, in my mind, shooting the driver doesn't stop the car. If the car is heading to me, that ain't going to help. I would have been trying to get out of the way. And so, I wouldn't have done that. If you take a look, and you, Honey Bunny, are good at this. How did you see how fast that guy drew and fired 3 rounds on target? He has practiced an enormous amount with that gun, and therefore that's his reflex. She was told both. Yes, she was. I would agree. She was told both. If you're aware of these sort of situations, you would just freeze and say, what do you want me to do? Hands up in the air, say, look, I'm getting conflicting instructions. And I've seen this happen before in police interactions where you've got multiple police officers saying different things. And the only thing you can really do is, well, what do you want me to do? Could one person please give me orders here? I say, you had one cop trying to open the door, another guy just videoing around, another guy, I think on the other side, said earlier, get out of here or whatever. And then her other half, I guess, that she was just trying to get away. Okay. My guess is she wasn't trying to hit the cop and probably, didn't think she was going to. It was pretty close. She might have not cared. It's like, I'm scared. I'm getting out of here. She might have started realizing that I'm going to get arrested. Took off. It's like, this is why you just don't get in those situations. She'd been leading the procession of cars that was interfering with ICE for a while. This was not the first time they dealt with her. So when you get all those things together, it looks to me like an unfortunate circumstance where she did something that made it a justifiable shoot, even though that might not have been the ideal thing. I don't know. It's just, people die on the road every day of the week because somebody makes a mistake. Okay. Not all of those deaths are, horrible sort of things. Sometimes just, I was temporarily distracted, someone dies. Okay. That's why it would be nice if de-escalation were occurring, but it's not, Oh, I agree, Desert Travis. And she could have started moving slowly, which she didn't. So, as I say, I think in the heat of the moment, she made a bad decision, kind of did I'm going to get out of here sort of thing, and unfortunately paid the price. And probably that officer, he's going to have to live with that too. It's better than 50% probability. He's going, fuck, I screwed up. I made a mistake. In the split second I had, I did the wrong thing. Not illegal, but not ideal, That is untrue. Brian. Okay. You can shoot the driver of a car under certain circumstances. Okay. In those circumstances, it's probably a justifiable shoot. Again, I don't think it was the ideal thing, but I can show you a video of someone threatening, the guy doesn't shoot her. She backs up and plows a cop over a fucking pile of snow. Okay. Say it's one of those things. I don't think it's usually the best thing to do, but sometimes it's perfectly legit. In this case, I think it's legally legit. Okay. Ideal? No. But he didn't have time to think. That was too fast for thought. That was pure reflex. And that's right, John. Right now, they are attacking civilians. The protesters are attacking civilians they think are either right-wing reporters and or possibly associated with ICE. You know. And he went to the hospital and did some internal bleeding. Yeah, how bad? I don't know. We'll find out later. Again, to me, saying it was murder, clearly that was not established at this time. I suspect his lawyers are going to get him a lot of money, and I would want, and here's another thing in terms of the reporting. My daughter was of the opinion there's no investigation about this. That's not correct. There is no criminal investigation by the Justice Department because on the face of it, they don't see any crime. He didn't commit a crime. Might be a little bad judgment within the law, But there is an internal investigation as to what happened. I want all that information made public. I agree. He got a bruise. Okay. Aside from that, I don't know. I want to see the pictures. I want to see the medical reports. Brian, absolutely. But as I say, from a legal standpoint, it's a different thing. Now, wrongful death lawsuit, possibly. But you're going to, by the time it goes to court, there will be so much other shit happen that's going to affect the outcome a lot more than what actually happened there. I believe in transparency, and I believe that people should be held accountable for their actions according to the rules that they were operating under at the time. What was the law at the time? How is it applied? Okay. Another question I have, Brian, is what is the legal status of the two, shot 2 and 3? Okay. Shot 1, I can see much more clearly. Shot 2 and 3, I have heard, not definitively, but I've heard that basically they were so close together that in that kind of a circumstance, it's considered a single action. Although there's 3 independent shots, the shooting is considered one shooting. Yeah, I don't know. I want to know. I want people to analyze. Another question. Okay, Brian, let us suppose, for the sake of the argument, that A, and I think this is true, it's well supported, they were deliberately interfering with ICE agents. Okay. Seems to be well established. Okay. And therefore they were committing felonies. Okay. Then she tried to drive off. There was a shoot. Assuming that it's considered justified under the law, whether or not you like it, but justified. She was dead. EMS is not required when somebody is obviously dead. Okay. Like a decapitation, or we didn't see the head, but I'm guessing is that it's like, yeah, this one ain't going to be brought back. But anyhow, the thing is, legally, if they were committing a felony and somebody died during the commission of the felony, all the people involved in the felony are guilty of murder. So legally, her other half may have committed murder. Legally, the organizers who trained them and encouraged them to do things which were in fact felonies, and then they did them, they may be liable for murder. You might want to think about this. It could get pretty interesting. Okay. And a lot of people say, well, that isn't very just. It's like, why not? She said, and I quote, "It's my fault." Okay. She understood, her other half understood. If they hadn't been out there playing games with ice, it wouldn't have happened. And that is an absolutely correct statement. Breather after breathing. How do you know? What evidence do you have, Brian? Is there video of that? Okay. Say, I don't know. Trust me, I don't believe what somebody says on either side when there's a real strong motivation for them to lie. And I can see on both sides motivations potentially to lie. Inciting a riot, I don't know. It's EMS found her breathing. I don't know. There's something called agonal breathing. I want to know. I want to know what they found. I want to see that report. There's no reason to keep that secret from the people. We have a right to know that. Okay? So, well, and not only that, but if they were hired actors, isn't the person who hired them responsible for what happened on the set, so to speak? I say, who reported that EMS found her breathing? Okay. Did you hear the actual EMS person who attended to her say, I found her breathing? Okay. Say, so. Yeah. Spooks. Yep. As I say, there's a lot of stuff there, but as I say, we had a thing this weekend in the church. Apparently those people are going to be charged with crimes under the KKK Act and the FACE Act and stuff like that. And again, whoever's paying these people, whoever's organizing these people, they should be held accountable too. That will calm things down. If I was organizing a protest and I thought if any of these protesters get out of hand, I'm going to go to jail for life. If they do stupid stuff that I told them to do, I'm going to be very careful not to tell them stupid stuff, Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I trust the videos I've actually seen. Okay. I have some faith in stuff that's widely reported, such as she was leading a group of cars that was interfering with stuff. Okay. First video I saw, I'm going, I don't know. Did the guy even get hit? Second, third videos and stuff was like, yeah, he got hit. Was that a smart thing to do? Not in my opinion. Was it legal? Different thing. I almost got killed once by some cops. Okay. Handy hint. If you're sleeping in a public place in the back of your car, don't put your glasses next to your gun, because when somebody taps on your window, the first thing you do is reach for your glasses. I was looking at two police pistols at about 18 inches through the back window of that Suburban. It's like, okay, and they said, don't move. Yes, officer. Okay, slowly get out of the car. Keep your hands where we can see them. Yes, officer. Get out of the car. Put your hands on the car, feet back and spread them. Yes, officer. 15 minutes later, they'd gone their way. I was back in the bed. Because it doesn't, it's not the kind of thing where once you're dealing with cops, they don't know who you are. You got a much better idea what they're going to do than they do what you're going to do. They're going to tend to be touchy. So don't give them any reason It's a much safer thing. By the way, if cops do something, I mean, I'm a firm believer in videotaping them, but if they do something wrong, don't argue. State, for example, no, I do not give you permission to search my vehicle. If you don't think they have permission, fine. I don't give you permission. Make sure you got it on tape. Then if they find something and you're right, gets thrown out, you got a lawsuit. Okay, you get paid. On the other hand, if you say you can't do that and try and prevent them and you're wrong, you can be in deep trouble. Okay. Yeah, it can be a liability at times, honey bunny. But let's say it's standard procedure when dealing with the police. Follow instructions, even if you think they're illegal. Okay, as long as they're not so manifestly illegal, like, okay, shoot the person next to you sort of thing. But, get out of the car. Fine. Take off your clothes. Did I hear you correctly? Did you say you want me to take off my clothes? Yes. Okay. Is your body cam going? Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll take off my clothes. I don't approve of this, but I will not resist you. I saw a video yesterday or the day before. 3 black chicks in a car, as an SUV, blew a red light, stopped at a gas station. The temporary plate wasn't for that vehicle. The cops were like, get out of the car so we can identify you and stuff. And she wouldn't do it, and this and that. By the time she took off, they went after her. There was 3 people in the car, one of whom was pregnant. By the time it was all over, they hit a car, killed 2 people. Truck, he got injured. The baby died, and she went to jail for 7 to 15 years. Okay? Because she just wouldn't get out of the vehicle. Hi, Sarah. It's like, if you don't, fine, videotape it and do it. They were saying they were afraid they were going to get killed. Maybe they were, but if so, it's not very rational. We'll get to it in a minute. They were at a gas station in daylight. What are the cops going to do? Take you out, kneel you down, and shoot you in the back of the head? Not going to be a good plan. And that's why all of this rhetoric is harmful. It kills people. It gets them doing stupid things, which I don't agree with. There's people who really believe that ICE is doing bad things. Fine. Protest legally. Absolutely. Yeah, pretty much, honey bunny. It usually works pretty well. I've run into 2 cops in my life that were just assholes that I could tell. Okay? One pulled me over for a traffic violation that wasn't really a traffic violation.
Are you up for Aurora?
I've been checking the thing here. It's getting bigger now, but it's not to us yet. Chris Saucier says, hi, Eva, stay strong and focus on healing. You might want to go someplace where they can hear you and just say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody. Look for
Aurora. But let's say the other one just really annoyed me. But again, nothing I can do is going to make the situation better. Don't do anything. He's gone in 5 minutes. Okay. Yeah, it's annoying as fuck. But what the hell? Eva was having a medical situation that they called the cops to go with the EMS in case she had trouble controlling herself. And I was trying to tell the officers as to, this particular thing is going to be less than optimal. He didn't want to hear about it. Okay. Yep. Mr. Virtue says, hi, Eva.
Hi, everybody. Talk mining.
Yep. So anyhow, come on over here and say something so they can hear your voice. See, she's been sleeping for like 2 or 3 hours pretty soundly, but now she's sounding pretty good.
Hi, everybody. I'm not getting on camera because I look like a monster.
Well, not a monster, but she looks like...
So let's talk about mining. I think silver's probably almost 100 now.
Okay. We've pretty much talked about it. Somebody else, Sarah says, we love you. Michael Wood says, stay strong, Eva.
I want to find out what the price of silver is right now, but it's on sale.
It says, according to this, the COMEX is $93.29 and hasn't changed in an hour. So you might want to check your sources. According to Cortex, it was about 95. He's in Turkey.
Yeah, the market is, the world spot price right now is $93.16 on Kitco.
Yeah. Honey Bunny says, it's fine, Eva. You should have seen my mother post-cancer surgery. No, I say the whole situation is going to tend to be pretty good for the precious metals, I think.
Apparently, the sky is a full rainbow in Denmark.
In Denmark, huh? Let's see what it is. Let's see. Well, it should be that way in Maine also. Little one. Look, this is the 30-minute forecast. See? I found out where to get the 30-minute forecast.
Yeah.
So, but it's still way above us. It's hundreds of miles into Canada.
But the window's open. It looks like we may end up with waves hitting us for the next couple of days on the long-range forecast.
Well, come on over here and tell everybody.
No, I'm not getting on camera looking like this,
Just
period.
come over here. The camera's pointed at me. Okay, just get close to the microphone.
When in doubt, buy silver and gold.
Well, what's going to happen with the Aurora is what I was talking about.
They're having some of the highest CME readings that they have had in decades, and readings that are coming through on some of the scales that are by the old standards from the pre-1980 standards. They are high readings.
Yeah, I say
we got a lot going on right now, and that big hole that's shaped like a goat is still sitting there in the middle of the sun.
It's a really significant event, and looks like it may be the most intense event since we put up communication satellites. So we don't know for sure what's going to happen.
Do not trust Google Maps, period.
Eva says, don't trust your GPS right now. Yeah, but not during your lifetime, honey bunny. So anyhow, say the whole situation is pretty interesting when it comes to the Aurora.
The largest solar radiation storm in over 20 years.
The largest solar radiation storm in over 20 years. But sunspot cycles are 14 years, so.
On top of the regular
thing. Sarah has red hair, huh? Okay. But anyhow, so that it is getting stronger. You know, looking at the map, it's showing it's getting bigger. And we will see what happens tonight, but it could get pretty radical. If you got clear skies, then you might want to keep an eye on them. Uh, so anyhow, that's the basic thing. For those who came in late, we're paying attention to the auroran. I got 95% recovery on the last set of samples that I bottle rolled. So things are working pretty well there. Eva's doing okay, as you can see. Currently, I'm running a test to see how much hydrogen peroxide I need to get good recovery. And with all the aurora and the planetary alignments and things like that, some people say that there's a higher than normal chance of a major earthquake. I have no idea if they're true. Doesn't look. It's going to be a little bit before it gets to Fairbanks. It looks like on this, Chris, but not too much. It'll be there fairly quick. Jeff Kablock says silver might hit 100 tonight. Could be.
It would not surprise me at all.
I don't see what.
I'm expecting it to maintain 100 before we hit Chinese New Year.
I heard, I didn't check the sources or whatever, but I heard that I think it was J.P. Morgan was predicting that in order to unwind all of their silver shorts that they've got out there, billions of dollars worth, they're going to have to drive the price up to about $400 an ounce in order to get enough silver to cover their shorts. So, ooh, nice, John. Oh, exactly, Jeff. Yeah, the hydrogen peroxide is to break down the sulfides and allow the Eco Gold X to get to it. It's an alternative to roasting. We will probably go to roasting in the long run, but it's a quick and dirty solution to the problem. You know, whether it's economic or not, I'm not sure. If it's not, we may just, leach it with the Eco Gold X, save the tailings, and then roast them then. Okay, so Sarah Bagoger. Okay, I'm going to find out what you look like, Sarah. If I don't crash the system here.
Equipment, they got in the face of his employees.
Oh, shut up. Oops. See if I got it right here. Oh, I can't see. Sarah Bagoger, 4682. 4682. Okay. Well, that looks like it would be you because it's got a hard hat on it. Got really red hair. I doubt that that's absolutely natural. But you look quite pretty, Sarah. Can't tell how strong you are there, but you look reasonably good. Ooh, got a hammer beating something. That must not be bad. Yeah, we did have an earthquake off the Oregon coast 2 days ago out on the not the Cascadia. It was on the Juan de Fuca Pacific Plate boundary. Interesting. There's a lot of interesting things going on. They also had like kind of an earthquake cluster by El Centro. That's near where my brother is. He's about 50 miles from that. So I'm concerned. So anyhow, yeah, it's interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see whether what's his name? Uh, Gosh, I don't know. Stefan something or other, geophysicist. See whether he's right. He says everything's line. There's something called a Schumann resonance. I guess there's something happens in the Earth's geomagnetic field, and so he says, I've been watching this since I think 2020, and I've never seen anything like this. I think there's going to be a big quake somewhere real soon. And they've had stuff happening near Japan. They had stuff happening at the Cascadia. They've had stuff happening down in Southern California. So I don't know. Could be interesting. But again, I don't know enough to have a strong opinion on that. I just kind of watch and see what happens. But I say it's just one of those deals where we go and let's see. Smash that. Oh dear. Okay, so I'll go ahead and close that so I don't. Jimmy Carr's not bad lately. Oh yeah, Brian, it has been rough. Well, the magnetic poles are shifting, and nothing could be done about that. But it's not going to be. It's not like in the movies where giant waves and suddenly it gets 50 below zero. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Anyhow, anyone got any subjects or anything they want to just chat about here? If he has to, he will, James. He's going to tend to hold back on that until it's blatantly obvious, because the left has been saying he's a dictator, he's a dictator, and so if he does anything that kind of looks dictatorial, well, do. Also, as somebody pointed out, he's been acting pretty, call it dictatorial, overseas. So that doesn't make people automatically doubt that he's going to do something over here. So he has to be very careful there. So I'll say that's, saying things like, well, we're going to get Greenland, and if they won't sell it to us, we're just going to take it. That's not the kind of statement that's going to make people confident that you're not going to be dictatorial. So, I don't think he's crazy, Jeff. I think he's doing it for a reason. I could be wrong. He's also old enough, he could be going senile. But again, I don't think so. This guy, he's very unself-conscious. He'll do stuff because it serves his purposes no matter what. I mean, remember when he was in the WWE or whatever it was, And so he's perfectly willing to look the fool if it works in the long run. You met him and worked for him, and he never paid. What did you do, Jeff? You're down in Florida there. Did you do something at one of his properties or something? You do air conditioning? Okay. Oh, at Alago? Boy, my brain's thinking something. Mar-a-Lago. Okay. I say, I don't know what's going on. I don't know whether there's a good reason for what's going on. I'm not really going to be able to affect what's going on, so I can just kind of watch. But there are certain things that I'm like, unless there's a really good reason for that, that's a dumb thing to do. Time will tell. Okay, Jeff. Apparently, little one Jeff Kablock has done AC work at Mar-a-Lago.
Huh.
And he says Trump didn't pay him. Okay.
Well, I'm not,
I say, I have, again, things that I have too little knowledge about, I try not to have any opinion. But yeah, it looks to me from outside that there's a lot of stuff going on all at the same time.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird shit going on as it is.
And I can't predict this. I don't really have an idea. I think that's good for the precious metals. I also saw a video today from a lady from Israel, and she kind of, described what has happened in the Middle East through the last 50 years or whatever. And she says the reason Trump didn't, do anything to Iran, I've heard two stories on that. Number one, when everybody was sitting in one room and telling him why he needed to do this, that, or the other, he said, okay, anyone who thinks that doing this will definitely change the regime in Iran, hold up your hand. And nobody would hold up his hand. He's like, okay, so it's a risky thing. But also, in the last 5 or 10 years, Israel has been working hard to become important to Saudi Arabia, because by running a pipeline through Israel, they can get to the Mediterranean Sea and avoid the Straits of Hormuz, which is controlled by the Iranians, and the Bab al-Mandab in the Red Sea, which is controlled by Iranian proxies. And so Israel has been working to become indispensable to Saudi. Her thing was, you don't have to like someone to trust them if they can't live without you. Which was interesting.
Well, here's something we haven't heard about in the news.
What?
The largest nurses strike in New York City history is in its second week.
We never even heard about it.
Both sides digging in their heels. They're going to fight till the end.
Oh, according to supposedly there's a big nursing strike been going on for weeks in New York.
2 weeks.
Oh, we never even heard.
Largest nurses strike in history. In New York City history.
You were in the Coast Guard, huh? Cool, Jeff. Let's see, read the stuff. It's not a. No, actually, she was talking about an actual petroleum pipeline. Okay. Apparently, it hasn't gotten much press. She says they're working on that right now. Now, I haven't the faintest idea if she was correct or not. She said the reason that Trump didn't do anything is Saudi Arabia, and I think it was the UAE, basically said don't, because it's going to cause a lot of problems, and it's not going to solve anything. So I'm not sure. Where Trump had a meeting after getting in office, they showed him the Zapruder film after they asked if he had any questions. No, but Yeah, that's a possibility. So, as I say, the basic thing was Saudi and the UAE didn't want him to do it. Israel didn't think it was a good idea. So Trump said, okay, we're not going to do it. I really don't know what's going on in Iran right now. You got two entirely different stories coming out of there. One is the populace is revolting and the things are going on like this, and the regime is close to collapse. The other side is there were some things, then Mossad and the CIA sent people in to start the shooting and this and that and the other, and that's all been put down, and now everyone's all happy kumbaya, go Khamenei. I can't tell. You know, but that's okay. Anybody says she's got a contact in country and it's chaos there. Could be. I can't tell. I find it interesting that they're still kind of holding back on the internet. You know, if it was going good for the government, why are they keeping the internet shut down? When you say Putin is wrecking the country, wrecking which country? Russia or Iran? Okay, I'm guessing you're saying Russia, but I don't know. And again, in Russia, you got people that really support Putin and people that are really against him. Putin is wrecking Russia. Could be. I don't know. Again, I have way too little information. The information I've been getting seems to be that Russia is going to win the war in Ukraine because they're just building weapons and stuff a lot faster than the Ukrainians can resupply. And that internally, Russia's GDP is doing okay. That's the information I have. I don't. Yeah, the one through Israel was a pipeline that she was talking about. Well, you're actually going to go visit Russia in the summer of 2026? Please let us know what you see, Mr. Virtue. What you can safely. Okay?
I want to know about their mining.
Yeah. Well, by winning, I mean achieving their objectives or a reasonable facsimile thereof. Okay? Well, that's what the Great Reset was supposed to do. But I don't think it's. I mean, once you break something, I mean, we worked to depose the Shah because we were going to get somebody more friendly and nice to support us. How well did that work out? So that's it. This is, of course not, honey bunny. I know it hasn't been given up on. Okay. Glenn Beck was saying today basically that that's why Trump is doing all this stuff that seems crazy, is because he's trying to get us ready so that when things crash, the United States doesn't go down the drain. Yeah, I thought it was amazing when the Prime Minister of Canada used the New World Order line in public, talking about this new cooperation with China to be part of the New World Order. I thought, he used that term? That's wild. Yeah, we're living in chaotic times. So that's good for precious metals. The administration is apparently kind of enthusiastic on building stuff, as in refineries, smelters, microprocessor plants, the whole 9 yards, and wanting to cut the red tape. That bodes well for us. And well, if he does, maybe he can get this all fixed. Okay. Sounds like someone's feeling better. Yeah. Eva's doing okay. She's not doing okay all the time. She's getting some real fatigue at times, but it seems to be just her body needs the rest to recover. When she gets enough rest, she wakes up, she starts functioning just fine. Okay. So should be by another week from now, she should be on the way up. Right now, she should be very, very close to the bottom. Last treatment was, 6 days ago? So that's kind of the situation right now. And I'm looking forward to doing some work with Jeff Kablock this summer. And I can stay busy during the winter and keep making videos on the leaching and such. So we're in good shape there. Looks like Eva's made it through. So I say, all in all, it's not horrible. Does anyone else have anything they want to talk about? And Kodak, keep your head down over there. Some crazy stuff. I don't think he can till he gets back to Montana, and that's going to be in like June, honey bunny. Anyone else got any subjects they want to bring up or questions they want to ask? Oh, give it enough time for the delay. Oh. Well, I'm not seeing anything. So, again, I want to thank you all for showing up and all your input. And thank you for all your prayers for Eva and such. So, yeah, it probably will hit maybe by the end of the week. So, let's call it a night and check for the aurora out there. Should be getting, it's getting more intense. So if you're in the northeast right now, you should be looking out the window. In the northwest, should be pretty close in the next couple hours or so. So happy prospecting and keep it safe out there. End stream. End.